I asked ChatGPT AI to tell me 3 stories. One ghost story, another ghost story where I am the protagonist, and a final ghost story with a tragic ending. You're going to want to stick around for the last one, trust me. Also, just a heads up, this video is brought to you by HelloFresh. We'll hear more from them in just a little while. Before I continue, if you could smash that like button, it really helps me out. Thank you so much. Tell me a scary ghost story. Are you sure you want to hear a scary ghost story? It might give you nightmares, but if you insist, here's one for you. There was once a grand old mansion on the outskirts of town. It was said that the mansion was haunted by the ghost of a young woman who had died tragically on her wedding day. Legend had it that she still roamed the halls of the mansion searching for her lost love. One dark and stormy night, a group of teenagers decided to explore the mansion. They had heard the rumors about the ghost, but they didn't believe in such things. As they made their way through the dusty old rooms, they laughed and joked with each other, completely oblivious to the danger that awaited them. Suddenly, they heard a blood-curdling scream. It echoed through the halls of the mansion, sending shivers down their spines. The teenagers froze in terror as they realized that they were not alone in the mansion. As they huddled together trying to figure out what to do next, they heard a soft whisper in their ears. It was the ghost of the young woman, and she was telling them to leave the mansion at once, but the teenagers were too scared to move. They were paralyzed with fear. Suddenly, the lights went out, and the mansion was plunged into darkness. The teenagers could hear the sounds of footsteps approaching them, getting closer and closer. They could feel the cold breath of the ghost on their necks, and they knew that they were trapped. And then, just as suddenly as it begun, it was over. The lights flickered back on, and the mansion was empty once more. The teenagers ran out of the mansion as fast as they could, never to return again. To this day, people say that the ghost of the young woman still haunts the mansion, waiting for her lost love to return, and they warn that anyone who dares to enter the mansion will never return. So there we go. That's the first story from ChatGPT AI. Very interesting, I have to say. It's a decent effort. I'll tell you what though, I am quite peckish. ChatGPT, do you ever get hungry?
As an AI language model, I don't have the physical body, so I don't get hungry in the way that humans do. However, I do understand hunger as a human concept and can help you with questions related to food and nutrition. If you have any questions about food or dietary needs, feel free to ask.
How about no? I'm not going to ask you, because I'm going to ask HelloFresh. This video is brought to you by HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a food delivery service where you go on the website, you go through their options, you click what you like, how many people and how many meals you want, and then it is just delivered magically to your door. Now, I don't know about you, but me personally, I suck at getting a weekly shop. So what ends up happening is I get takeaways. Now, as we know, they're not very healthy and they cost a lot of money. However, using HelloFresh is not only better for your health, but it's better for your wallet. You get these handy meal sheets that literally has all the ingredients and all of the steps on the back, so someone like me who cannot cook very well can make amazing meals. They also offer some really awesome calorie smart options if you're out there trying to lose weight. If you're trying to get that summer bod, because summer is coming up rapidly. So if you scan this QR code or use code DR60, which is linked down below, you will get 60% off your first order plus 25% off your next box. No, the next 8 boxes you get 25% off. What a deal. You can cancel, pause, or change delivery address whenever you like. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Thank you for the lovely food. Let's get back to the video. Tell me a ghost story where the protagonist is called Jordan. Sure. Here's a ghost story where the protagonist is called Jordan. Jordan had always been fascinated by the paranormal, so when he heard about an old abandoned asylum on the outskirts of town, he knew he had to explore it. He gathered his friends and they set out on their adventure. As they entered the asylum, they could feel a strange energy in the air. The walls were covered in peeling paint and the floors creaked with every step. Jordan led the way, determined to uncover the secrets of the asylum. As they made their way through the dark corridors, they suddenly heard a strange noise. It was a low, guttural moan that sent shivers down their spines. Jordan and his friends tried to ignore it and continued their exploration, but as they rounded a corner, they saw something that made them freeze in terror. A figure was standing in front of them, bathed in an eerie blue light. It was the ghost of a patient who had died in the asylum years ago. The ghostly figure started to move towards them, moaning and groaning groaning all the while. Jordan and his friends tried to run, but it was too late. The ghostly figure was upon them, and they could feel its icy breath on their faces. But then something strange happened. The ghostly figure stopped in its tracks and started to speak. It said that it had been waiting for someone like Jordan, someone who was brave enough to uncover the truth about the asylum. The ghost told Jordan and his friends the story of the asylum, about how it had been a place of horror and suffering for the patients who had been locked up there. The ghost urged Jordan to share the story with the world, to make sure that the truth was never forgotten. And with that, the ghostly figure disappeared into the ether, leaving Jordan and his friends alone in the darkness. They knew that they had been given a gift, the gift of a story that they could share with the world, and they knew they would never forget the ghostly encounter that they had had that night. That is awesome. Not just because I have explored an abandoned asylum with my friends. Unfortunately, we didn't get to, have a ghostly apparition turn up in front, let alone give me a gift of a story to, allow people to know what happened at the asylum. But I don't know what it is about that story, but I just think it's really, really cool. And it's quite a nice sweet ending, bittersweet ending, that the ghost is like, I'm not here to scare you, I want to tell you my story so that you can tell my story and the story of those patients that suffered here to the world. So yeah, ChatGPT, tip my hat to you. That was pretty awesome. Now let's have a look at a ghost story with a tragic ending. Tell me a ghost story with a tragic ending. Certainly, here's a tragic ghost story for you. In a small town nestled in the mountains, there was a beautiful old mansion that had been abandoned for years. Legend had it that the mansion was haunted by the ghost of a young woman who had died tragically on her wedding day. Her name was Isabella, and she had been in love with a man named Nicholas. One day, a group of teenagers decided to explore the mansion. They had heard the rumors of the ghost, but they didn't believe in such things. As they made their way through the dusty old rooms, they laughed and joked with each other, completely oblivious to the danger that awaited them. This sounds familiar. As they entered one of the rooms, they saw the ghostly figure of Isabella standing in front of them. She was a vision of beauty, but her face was etched with sadness and pain. The teenagers tried to run, but Isabella wouldn't let them leave. She told them her story about how she had been in love with Nicholas, but her parents had forbidden her from marrying him. Instead, they had arranged for her to marry another man, a man she didn't love. On the day of her wedding, Isabella had died, heartbroken and alone. Isabella begged the teenagers to help her find Nicholas, the love of her life. She believed that if they could find him, she could finally be at peace. The teenagers agreed to help her, and they set out on their quest. They searched the town high and low, asking everyone they met if they knew Nicholas. No one had ever heard of him. Days turned into weeks, and the teenagers became more and more desperate to find him. And then one day they received some terrible news. Nicholas had died many years ago, in a tragic accident that claimed the lives of many people. Isabella would never be able to find him, and she would be trapped in the mansion forever. The teenagers returned to the mansion heartbroken and defeated. They told Isabella the news, and she collapsed to the floor, weeping uncontrollably. And then, just as suddenly as it begun, it was over. Isabella disappeared into the ether, leaving the teenagers alone in darkness. From that day forward, the teenagers were haunted by the ghost of Isabella. They could hear her weeping in the night, and they knew that they had failed her. Isabella's tragic story had become their own, and they would never be able to forget it. Okay, I mean, that is tragic, and it's a little bit more detailed than the first story. I think what's happened there is we've basically heard the shell of this story in the first story, and then the AI has added more layers and a tragedy, i.e., find my love so I can pass through to heaven, and then they don't, and so then Isabella haunts them forever. So the tragedy is actually with the teenagers who now have to be haunted for the rest of their life. That's quite cool. I like that. That's a pretty cool little twist there. When I put something like with a tragic ending, I was expecting like someone to die, but obviously it's a ghost story, so someone is already dead, I guess. But yeah, like that's ChatGPT AI that I thought I would just mess around with and find out if it's any good at telling ghost stories. Do you think that they're good stories? I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know down below. Also, thanks again to HelloFresh. If you would like to get HelloFresh, use code DR60 for 60% off your first box, and then 25% off your next 8 boxes. That is DR60. The link is down below in the description box. So thank you to HelloFresh, thank you to you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I also want to give a shout out to my patron of the day. Today is James Gardner. James, thank you so much for being a patron. I really appreciate you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/DutyRhino. That's it for today, guys. If you'd like me to mess around with ChatGPT AI some more for some more content in the future, then just let me know down below. Thank you very much. I will see you very soon, sweet one. Goose.